I was here on day one, and when I walked in the theater while they were still building it, I couldn't imagine what it would look like today. Dirt floors, the hardwood floor had been taken out to be refinished, and it still had studs and construction everywhere. And then on May the 10th, it was beautiful. It's hard to imagine that it's been here this long, but it's one of the best things that's ever happened to Salisbury, North Carolina for these children and young people that use it. It's fabulous. I wish we'd had it when I was growing up. It's wonderful being around all of these people who care so much about the youth of Rowan County. We could never have done this without them, especially the Norvell family. It's very special. I feel blessed to have been able to do this. And when the kids leave, it's sad. But one thing nice about the children that come here, they remain friends forever. And they come from all different areas of Rowan County and surrounding counties. And a lot of them have gone on to do big things, and it makes you very proud. And I'm just so glad to be a part of it. I hope it continues forever and ever, and has continued to be supported by these families coming up, as well as the ones that are here now, and by our arts organizations in Rowan County. It would be very sad to think that the Norvell would have an end, and I hope it never will.
Hi Piedmont players, my name is Morgan Warren, and my first ever show at PPT was William Shakespeare's The Tempest, actually before the Norvell was built. And my last show at PPT was Act 1, and in between there were myriad shows both at the Norvell and at Maroney, so these two stages hold very special places in my heart. Currently, I work at a Broadway production company called No Guarantees, and most recently we took home 4 Tony Awards, including Best Musical for our show Schmigadoon, and I am still acting. I carry so many life lessons with me from the Norvell, but I think the one that I use the most is I follow every single creative whim that I have, and I give myself permission to follow that spark because it's never led me wrong. I think it's also fairly obvious how PPT shaped the rest of my life. I started doing shows when I was 8, and I looked at my mom and I said, that's it, I'm done, I found what I'm gonna do for the rest of my life. So now I get to work putting on these shows, and I think PPT really helped me understand that if you do a show, you've got to be in it beginning to end and be so involved and appreciate all aspects of it. And I still get to act at the same time too. Because of the Norvell Theater, I am someone who does not give up. Just because you don't get that lead or make that cast doesn't mean that you can't still walk the Tony stage one day.
Well, the real story is that Reed Leonard invited me for lunch at Santos, and he said, we just heard that the pool hall is going to come on the market, and we need to buy it. And I said, what? And he said, yeah, we need to buy it because we need to create a children's theater there. And I said, in the pool hall? And I was kind of blown away, shocked. But the more I thought about it and the more he explained it, the more it made perfect sense. Because of course we had the Maroney program, I think we had camps at that time, but to have a theater dedicated purely to children's programming was needed, and we found out it really was an important component of our community. A lot of the children's theaters, like in Charlotte, adults are the actors. In our shows, the children act as well as they do backstage. They help build sets. They're involved with lighting and sound. They're involved in all aspects of a production. So it really truly immerses them in the theater experience. I think it's a very, very rich experience. I really believe that we have one of the best children's theater programs in the state. It makes me emotional to think about it, because I remember when Reed and I went to visit my mother in 2007 and asked her to make the first large gift to the theater. Her health was declining, and she's expressed to me a desire to that she wanted to do something that would really be transformative for the community. And this is the one that she thought would do that. And so she pledged an amount of money, a lead gift, in September of 2007. And then she died the next May of 2008. She died before the theater was even started or finished, certainly. And then an additional gift came through her will to finish off that. And it was also a very difficult time. 2008 was when we had a sort of a market crash, and so it was difficult to raise money, but we raised some money. Paul Fisher was my right-hand guy, and so we sold all the seats. I think over 50, 213 individuals bought seats in the theater. We had 250 families and corporations and foundations gave to the theater, and so it was a truly, as Paul Fisher called it, it was a miracle on Fisher Street that created this theater. And also the construction workers. We got a great company out of High Point to do the construction work, and the construction workers thanked Mr. Fisher when he thanked them for the work they did by saying, "You gave us jobs when we didn't have jobs." And so we had, Paul said we had two miracles. I've seen stories of small communities, like one in Alabama, where there was a theater like this that transformed the community, and people went on to excel around the country in theater and film and other things. I see that happening here. I see a lot of our Norvell alumni going on to Hollywood, to Los Angeles, making film, being on stage around the country, and it's not just that theater experience that's so important. It's the confidence when a 6-year-old or 7-year-old, 9-year-old is on the stage in front of 250 people, and remembers their lines and speaks with confidence. That confidence building is so critical later in life. And again, it's something that's unique. Other communities do not have this. We let all the Rowan County school children come and see the shows for free. It's a great place for our camps, and it's about growing our community.